¿Cómo está usted? Formal. How are you? ¿Cómo means how. Está is one of the conjugations of the verb estar, which is to be. Usted is the formal you. So this is a formal way of asking how someone is. We will talk more about the words como and the verb estar, as well as the pronoun usted in the future. ¿Cómo está usted? Bien, gracias. ¿Cómo estás? Informal. How are you? We have already seen the word como, which means how, and a different conjugation of the verb estar. This time we're using estás. Estás goes with the subject pronoun tú. Tú is the informal you. We can use this when we want to ask someone how they are. In Spanish, the informal or familiar form is used for someone you know well or who you are more comfortable with. Sometimes there is also a difference in age. Notice here, the teacher asks ¿Cómo estás?, while the student would ask ¿Cómo está usted? This shows a difference in age and respect. ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien, gracias. ¿Qué pasa? What's happening? Pasar is to pass, or in this case, what's going on. ¿Qué pasa is asking what's happening. This isn't exactly the same as how are you. If I ask someone, how are you, it doesn't make sense to say nothing. Just like if I say what's going on or what's happening, it doesn't make sense to say good. It's important to understand what's actually being asked here. In our example, we have ¿Qué pasa? And the girl responds, Nada, nothing, nothing's happening.
¿Qué pasa?
Nada. ¿Qué tal? How are you? ¿Qué tal is also a little bit like, what's up? How are things with you? So this is different from ¿Qué pasa?, which is asking what's happening in general. This one is returning to that how are you, more about you. So you could say, I'm fine, estoy bien. You could say, regular, I'm okay. Or you could say mal. Or you could say mal, bad. Things are not going well. ¿Qué tal? Regular. ¿Y tú? And you? Informal or familiar. You would use this with someone who is the same age or someone you are close to or who you know well. Tú is the informal subject pronoun you. Y tú is used to reciprocate a question. If someone asks how you are, it's not very polite to simply answer and not reciprocate that question back. So, how are you? I'm well. And you? ¿Y tú?
¿Qué tal?
Muy bien. ¿Y tú? ¿Y usted? And you? Formal. So this time we're using the formal subject pronoun you. Usted. And again, we would use usted if there's a difference in age, or maybe we're being more formal because we don't know each other very well. So in this example, I have two adults who are talking first time or the second time they've met. They don't know each other very well, or maybe they have a formal relationship, or perhaps one of them is the other person's boss. If you ask how someone is in this instance, you would say, ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está usted? ¿Cómo está usted?
Bien. ¿Y usted?
Bien, well. In English, we have a tendency to ask how someone is and respond back with good. In Spanish, that doesn't really work. Bueno has a different meaning and connotation that doesn't work in this instance. So if someone asks, ¿Cómo está usted? And you're good or well, you can say, bien. And if you want to be very polite, you can add, gracias. Thank you. Thanks for asking. ¿Cómo está usted? Bien. Gracias. Muy bien. Very well. Muy means very. If you want to augment that feeling of wellness, you can add very. Muy bien.
¿Qué tal?
Muy bien. ¿Y tú? Nada. Nothing. Nada means nothing. This works very well with what's going on. What's going on with you? Nothing. Nada. Of course, if something's going on in your life, you probably don't want to say nada and you want to share whatever's going on with you. But maybe nothing has been happening, or maybe you're still working on your Spanish and you'd rather not go into detail, so an easy out could be nada. Assuming your teacher doesn't ask you to elaborate anyway.
¿Qué pasa?
Nada. Regular. Okay, so. This one is a cognate with English. Remember that cognates are two words in two different languages that are either the same or very similar. In this case, regular and regular are spelled the same. However, we wouldn't really respond to how are you doing with regular. We would say okay or so. So again, this would be in response to ¿qué tal?, whereas nada could be in response to ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué tal? Regular. Gracias. Thank you. This is a very important word in really any language. It's one of the first words you should always try to learn because showing gratitude can go a long way. Especially if you do decide to travel, it's nice to be able to thank someone in their native language. You can say muchas gracias or mil gracias. So we saw before that mucho or mucha is much or many, so it's kind of like saying many thanks. Muchas gracias. Or if you want to say 1,000 thank yous, that would be mil gracias. ¿Cómo está usted? Bien, gracias.